Hello, and welcome to the informational video for the National Evaluation of the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant Program. My name is Ellie Fulbeck, and I am the Deputy Project Director for the Comprehensive Literacy Program Evaluation. I'm part of a study team from the American Institutes for Research that is conducting the evaluation for the U.S. Department of Education. We have prepared this video to explain how the Impact Study, which is part of the National Evaluation, will work. The Impact Study will focus on elementary schools, and we hope to include a couple of districts from each grantee state in the study. Today, we'll provide you with key information about how the study will work and then follow up with each of you to answer any questions or address any concerns you may have about participating in the study. Let's start with a description of how it will work, which I'm going to break down into 4 steps aligned to state CLSD subgrant competitions. We'll then turn to the requests of you all, benefits for you, and eligibility to participate in the study. So the first step is for state grantees to invite districts to apply for subgrants, just as there would be if there were no study. During the first year of the grant, states will set up their subgrant competitions and make awards to districts. Districts that win subgrants will implement CLSD activities in grant years 2 through 5. Our ask of states at this time is that they simply communicate to you all that there's an opportunity to participate in the impact study. The second step is for you to apply for a subgrant based on the criteria that the state set. Again, this would be the next step in the state subgrant competitions in the absence of the study. Districts with 4 or more elementary schools in their CLSD plans are best suited to participate in the impact study, although districts with 2 or more elementary schools are eligible to participate as well. And we will work with states to identify which districts meet their subgrant eligibility criteria and have enough elementary schools to participate in the impact study. We will ask districts to indicate that they are willing to participate in the impact study on their grant applications, or in some other way let us know that they would be interested. In the third step, states will review district applications, just as they would in the absence of the impact study. States will determine the number and amount of subawards, making subgrant awards to a subset of districts. Some of these districts will be eligible for and interested in participating in the impact study. We'll then work with those interested districts that win subgrants to finalize their participation in the impact study during this third step. The fourth step is the only additional step beyond what states would do anyway as part of their CLSD subgrant competition. In this step, we will randomly assign elementary schools within participating districts to be in one of 2 groups. Within each district, we will randomly assign half of the participating elementary schools to receive funding for the first 2 years of the subgrant period. Those are the green schoolhouses. And half of the participating elementary schools to receive funding in the second 2 years of the subgrant. Those are the blue schoolhouses. Staggering the rollout of funding to schools in this way is necessary for the evaluation and will help you learn and apply lessons from early implementers to other schools. This random process ensures that differences in later outcomes can be attributed to CLSD funding and not to the features of schools or their decisions to participate. Note that in this fourth step, subgrantees will retain full control over which elementary schools receive CLSD funding, but the timing of the funding will be determined by a simple lottery that the study team conducts. So let's turn now to our requests of you all and benefits for you as district subgrantees that may participate in the impact study. Our requests of district subgrantees are minimal. We ask that you abide by the lottery results and complete surveys to allow us to understand implementation of the CLSD subgrant. Here's a timeline that corresponds to the CLSD grant years, and here we are in the current school year, 2019-20. Later this year, after we know which districts are willing to participate in the study, and after states have made their subgrant awards, our first ask of subgrantees is that you allow us to conduct a simple lottery to randomly assign elementary schools to the first or second funding group. The schools in the first funding group, the green schools, will receive CLSD grant funds and implement CLSD activities in the first 2 years. Of course, the schools in the first funding group could spread the money out over all 4 years if they wish, and this is something we're happy to discuss with districts. Schools in the second funding group, the blue schools, will receive CLSD subgrant funds and implement CLSD activities in the second 2 subgrant years. So our first request of participating districts is that you abide by the results of the random assignment and allocate CLSD funds accordingly to participating elementary schools. Our second request is that you allow us to collect survey data during the first 2 subgrant years. To document CLSD-funded activities in the Impact Study schools, we will administer brief online surveys to teachers and principals in participating schools. We will provide gift cards to compensate school staff for their time to complete the surveys. So our second request of participating districts is that you provide us with contact information for principals and teachers so that we can administer the brief surveys to them. District subgrantees receive multiple benefits for participating in the Impact Study. First, by staggering the rollout of CLSD funds, you will be able to learn about and apply effective strategies and programs from early implementers to other schools in the future. This is consistent with many of the continuous improvement efforts that districts are currently engaged in. Second, we will provide financial resources for districts participating in the study. Districts will receive up to $15,000 per participating elementary school, regardless of which funding group the elementary schools are assigned. These resources could be a mix of financial resources or other supports from AIR, and I'll say a bit more about those in another slide or two. In addition to these benefits, we'll support participating districts by ensuring there is minimal disruption to their CLSD plans. In all cases, districts will retain full control over which schools receive CLSD funds based on the CLSD plan approved by your state. The criteria for districts to participate in the Impact Study are aligned to the state subgrant criteria. So first, districts must meet state eligibility criteria for a CLSD subgrant. Second, districts must actually apply for the CLSD subgrant. Third, you must indicate your willingness to participate in the Impact Study on your application, or some other way let us know that you would be interested in the study should you receive a subgrant. Fourth, districts should have at least 2 elementary schools that they plan to include in their CLSD subgrant. Although, as we mentioned before, districts that plan to include 4 or more elementary schools in their CLSD plans are best suited for the study. And finally, districts need to actually receive a CLSD subgrant to participate in the study. So the only 2 eligibility criteria that the Impact Study requires of districts above and beyond the CLSD subgrant competition is that districts let us know that they're willing to participate and that they be of a certain size, which is necessary for us to be able to randomly assign elementary schools to the first or second funding group efficiently. As I mentioned a few slides back, we will compensate districts for their participation in the Impact Study. Districts will receive up to $15,000 per participating elementary school. And since districts with 4 or more elementary schools are best suited for the Impact Study, districts may receive compensation that totals $60,000 or more for participating in the Impact Study. And what's really cool is that districts have a lot of discretion over how to use these funds. Obviously, there are a few restrictions. You know, we're not going to use the funds for luxury cruises or anything like that, but there's really a lot of discretion over how these resources are used. Okay, so now that everyone's super excited about this study, let's discuss what happens next. The next step is for you to let us know that you're interested in participating in the study or would like to get some more information about how the study might fit with your CLSD plan. Please complete this short form to provide us with your contact information. You can access it at https://www.surveymonkey.com/r/CLSD Impact Study. You can also email me directly at efulbeck air.air.org. And we'll follow up with you by email or phone to address any questions you may have and provide you with additional information that will help us determine whether you may be a good fit for the impact study. Thank you all for viewing this informational video about how the CLSD Impact Study will work. We look forward to speaking with you and your teams in the coming weeks, and we're happy to address any questions you may have.